Mr. Chairman, joining with you in this patriotic celebration, I would like to pursue the beaten path. I would like to follow time-honored precedent and dwell on the heroic achievements of the fathers, review the proud progress of their sons, and paint with the roseate hue a prophetic hope, a glorious promise for our prosperity. But task and love of country impel me to perform a less pleasing task. Our past has, indeed, been of glorious record, yet above not distant horizon of the future, I see dark clouds arising, charged with elements of wrath and destruction. Instead of indulging in eloquent memories and golden dreams of progress and prosperity, I would call to you from the battlements of your liberties and command you to haste to their defense. For foes more deadly than armies with banners encompass the walls of your strength and sap the foundations of your citadels. I crave your indulgence and attention while I speak of disregard of old codes of faith and rules of conduct, which has become all too common in our day and generation. My theme today is more fleeting liberties than independence won. It is the decay of our integrity in our social, political, and business relations. Standing as I do today among friends who have known me in two states I have represented since my early manhood, among friends to whom every step of my public career and every act of my private life are as an open book, may I not speak freely of the causes of our present national degradation. The prime cause of our departure from the landmarks set by the fathers when they established the limitations of powers delegated to the federal government, I yield to no one in devotion to my country. Every thought and wish, odd act in peace and in war, has been inspired by devotion to the federal union, but I charge that the evils of the times had their origin in the breaking down of these landmarks. The terrible fratricidal war which 20 years ago deluged the land with blood, gave occasion for the exercise of federal power, which, although necessary and therefore permissible in time of war, grew into excess and precedence for times of peace. The union established by the ladders for the common defense of the states and the general welfare of the people is worth all the bloodshed and treasure extended for its establishment and maintenance. But how long will it be worthy of maintenance? If the Republican form of government gives place, as it is rapidly doing, to a plocatic usurpation of all the coordinate branches of the federal government, it is not wealth or unscrupulous fealty to corporate wealth fast becoming the main, the only, and the sufficient qualifications for the high offices of state, executive, legislative, and even judicial affairs. What has brought upon this woeful anti-republican condition of affairs is plainly the continuance of extravagances of the war times, when the foundations of most of the present colossal fortunes were laid in great contracts cemented with blood, tears, and crucial taxation of the people. Republican spoilsmen. While our soldiers were laying down their lives for the Union, there remained at home the army contractors and spoilsmen, who for 4 years exacted from the people nearly $2 million a day as their pay for devotion to the Union. The service of the contractors and spoilsmen of the patriots who loaned the government 30 cents on the dollar at heavy interest has even been regarded by the Republican Party as something nobler and more worthy of acquaintance than the patriotism of the people who sent their sons to the field, toiled to support our armies. Whatever legislation was demanded by the contractor, the bondholder, or other non-combatant creditor of the nation has ever been more freely granted by Republican Congresses and administrations. We've become so inured to the federal taxation and extravagance under Republican administration that we looked upon the annual experience of $500 or $600 million with far less concern than we once regarded an an expenditure of 1/10 such outlay. Most of the federal disbursements go into the pockets of the vast armies of agents, officials, stipendiaries, and contractors which have been organized by the Republican Party in 24 years of its power. It now costs 50% more to maintain the federal government than it does to support the state, territorial, county, and municipal governments of our 38 states and 8 territories. If this were the whole cost of federal rule, the work of reform would, after all, not be so difficult. To be an honest party after its administration got into good working order. But this is not all that a reform party will have to contend against. It must encounter something stronger, something more exacting on the people than a grand army of office retainers in the Republican Party. It must encounter a power more compact and wealthy than that of the European official organization itself. It must encounter the great unofficial Republican organization of plunderers. This power has grown within the last 25 years. Under federal charters, cash subsidiaries, land grants, exclusive financial franchises, and excessive profits of indirect tariff taxation, this army has now become absolute control of the entire floating wealth of the nation. It has also amassed the great bulk of fixed wealth, either in direct proprietorship or by mortgage and trust securities. Okay, done.